Last month, we told you that we look everywhere for sevens when we named the best footballer from each of the 7 continents. That is now by far our most watched video ever, and if you haven't already, go ahead and give it a watch. We'd love to see it hit 1 million views. In the comments on that video though, someone suggested another 7, the 7 deadly sins, and posited whether maybe we could use that in relation to football as well. So that's exactly what we're going to attempt to do. Here are our 7 footballers who represent each of the 7 deadly sins. Lust. John Terry. The first of the 7 deadly sins is lust, and in a world where footballers are celebrities just as much as movie or pop stars, and their private lives are plastered all over the front pages of newspapers, you can just about take your pick here. For those non-native speakers, lust just means strong sexual desire. Ryan Giggs might be your pick, maybe even Ashley Cole, or Mauro Icardi at Inter could be a strong shout. We've gone for John Terry though, who has just always come across as a totally insufferable. We can discuss the lust side of JT thanks to his super injunction being lifted back in 2010, but I think you all know the story we're referring to anyway. Gluttony. John Parkin. Gluttony means overindulgence and overconsumption, typically in relation to eating and drinking. There have been a large number of footballers, both past and present, who have visibly had a few too many pies and or pints. Our choice in 6th place though is York City centre forward John Parkin. A big, strong frontman who has decent feet and poses a real threat in the air, Parkin has had a respectable career, much of which has been spent in the Championship. He may well have had a much better career if it wasn't for his obvious gluttony though. The 6'4" striker, who has bagged 25 goals in 32 games for York City this season, once reportedly returned to Hull City training 2 stone overweight following his pre-season indulgences. He might have fallen foul of one of the 7 deadly sins, but he's still got a strike rate that Saido Berahino can only dream of right now. Greed. Asamoah Gyan. Next up on the list of the 7 deadly sins is greed, and you could be forgiven for asking what is the difference between gluttony and greed. Whilst gluttony is merely excessive indulgence, typically in food, greed, or avarice, is more like lust, in that it is a desire, a longing to have more for yourself. That could be in respect to food, and we could have gone for another fat footballer. Or greed with the ball, and we could have chosen Iron Robin, but we went with greed in respect to the finances of the game. Those at FIFA headquarters probably deserve this more than anyone else then, but since we're going with current players, we've picked Asamoah Gyan. Many players have left behind more illustrious leagues and clubs in favour of cash, and in a way you can hardly blame them, but few have done it as brazenly as Asamoah Gyan. The Ghanaian joined Sunderland in 2010 after impressing at that summer's World Cup, but after a decent debut season in the Premier League, he made a lucrative move to Al Ain of the UAE Pro League. As soon as Gyan heard there was more money in China, he packed his bags and off he went to Shanghai, before returning to UAE in 2016-17. Now playing in Turkey and earning a pittance of what he used to a few years ago, Gyan is only 32, and you just know he has one big mercenary move left in him. Sloth. Hatem Ben Arfa. Wow, was there some choice for this one. The deadly sin of sloth is an unwillingness to work, exert, or apply oneself. Basically, laziness. Yes, a few players are coming to mind I'm sure. On the retired front, you have the likes of Matthew Le Tissier, Antonio Cassano, and Romario. When it comes to current players, the likes of Dimitar Berbatov, Adel Taarabt, and Mario Balotelli are all obvious candidates, but our choice is Hatem Ben Arfa. A man with as much God-given talent as Cristiano Ronaldo or Neymar, he has the work rate of an actual sloth. Ben Arfa has at times looked like making good on his obvious potential, notably in his first season at Newcastle United and at Nice. Now aged 31, Ben Arfa hasn't played a single first-team game for PSG this season, and he was once subbed by Steve Bruce, having covered less ground in a match at Old Trafford than goalkeeper Steve Harper. We'll say no more. Wrath. Diego Costa. Another one with a list of candidates longer than our arm, wrath just means uncontrolled anger, rage, and hatred. Former players like Oliver Kahn, Edgar Davids, and the butcher from Bilbao, Goico, all deserve mentions, whilst on the current front, it was between Pepe and Diego Costa for us. We've gone for Costa, who has a borderline hilarious obsession with conflict and controversy. His team could be 6-0 up in the dying embers of a cup game against non-league opposition, and Costa would still be hissing and snarling in the opposition's ears, trying to kick them when the ref wasn't looking and throwing the occasional elbow. Some say it's what makes him great, others say he's a Either way, he's our choice for wrath. Envy. Neymar. Envy is basically just jealousy, and every candidate we thought of for this inclusion just reeked with controversy and potential outrage in the comments. Cristiano Ronaldo at times seems a little jealous of Lionel Messi, Jose Mourinho certainly seems to envy the adoration and success enjoyed by Pep Guardiola this season, and Sol Campbell is envious of every manager who can get a job. Ultimately though, we've gone for Neymar, who also seemed a little envious of Lionel Messi being top dog at Barcelona, hence his move to PSG. In some ways, you could credit Neymar for wanting to be the star and lift PSG, rather than getting too comfortable in a world-class Barca side. But with no other outstanding candidates, he gets the nod for us. Pride. Nicholas Bendtner. In Christian teaching, pride is almost universally considered to be the worst and most serious of the 7 deadly sins. If you take pride by the biblical understanding of the word, it means both pride in the form of selfishness and in the form of hubris, an excessive and often irrational feeling of superiority. Many footballers have great self-belief, and that can often be a good thing. But when it comes to unjustified confidence and a delusional feeling of superiority, one man rules the roost. That man is former Arsenal striker Nicholas Bendtner. The Danish international has previously described himself as one of the best strikers in the world, and said he envisioned himself playing for Real Madrid or Barcelona. Just a couple of quotes that helped turn him into a perennial meme. After a decade on the Arsenal bench and brief spells with Wolfsburg and Nottingham Forest, Bendtner is now scoring prolifically in Norway with Rosenborg. So that's it for the top 7. Thanks for watching, give us a like if you enjoyed the video, and don't forget to subscribe to HITC 7s.